Greetings. Welcome to Dr. English's Book Lovers Book Club. I'm Dr. English and I teach English. This week, I'm going to do a little bit different book than what I have been doing. I'm almost to the end of, I'm pretty much to the end of my dystopian novels and one post-apocalyptic novel. And today I'm going to do a book. It's called The Comfort of Crows, A Backyard Year by Margaret Renkl. And I just have to say, I am a big fan of nonfiction, and I particularly like nonfiction that has an ecological or um, the health of the planet as a premise. And so this one is really, so a friend of mine told me about it, and I couldn't put it down, and I kept reading it pieces out loud to my husband. And so it's just like, it's one of those things where I can just open it up to anything, and I think I'll like it. So um, one of the things that I really love is how she talks about crows. Of course, it's called The Comfort of Crows, but throughout, and it goes all the way through, like, she starts in the winter and goes through. And so, so it's each week, and she has something, for each week. And I love that. I've always been a fan of that kind of structure. And it's really easy reading too. That's the other thing I really like about it. There's some profound things that she says, and she has great epigrams in most of the chapters, not all of them. But I have long been a fan of crows because I think crows are a really intelligent bird. My husband absolutely hates them. He hates them with a passion. He just can't stand their caw, caw, caw because they're loud and obnoxious. And so we have lots of loud and obnoxious people in our lives anyway, but I'm a big fan of crows. So this one really spoke to me in ways that I don't even know how to um, um, tell you how much I love that she's talking about crows. And I was in Florida one time at a resort, and I was sitting out by the pool, and there was a crow right there, and it was just like he just stayed right there, while I was just reading. And I thought maybe this is a reading crow, but I like just the idea that crows are intelligent and they like to collect things. And so I have several books I've read over my lifetime that have crows in them that I just love. And also should give a shout out to one of my professors at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln named Tom Gannon. And it's a book called Burning Wall Indians, and it's beautiful, kind of a really beautiful green cover with crows on it. And so he could probably tell you a whole lot more about crows than I can. So she starts out in winter, and then goes obviously to spring, which is beautiful. And just the sense of wanting summer to come, and how we love summer and that freedom to be outside. And now daylight savings time has started. And so the other thing she does is she has, throughout the book, these praise songs for a particular thing, and it's all in italics. And I really like that kind of structure too. And she has one called Praise Song for All Beginnings. It's just like an aside. This one says Praise Song for Solomon's Seal. And so Praise Song for the red bird who lost his crest, and the slink who has lost his tail. So she's focused upon things in nature, and there's a little bit of an undercurrent of the political times and the ecological crisis, but it's not overbearing. She doesn't really talk about it explicitly. She talks about it in subtle ways, and I like that too. I'm probably more inclined to talk about those things more explicitly because I taught a class on the ecological crisis for like 3 semesters, and I was really impressed with what my students how they responded to that class, and the things that we read in that class, and the things they produced. Some of it was multi-genre kinds of things, and some, I had a person, who wrote a song and sang a song about it. Was just an incredible class. So my shout out to my English 289 students. And I do miss teaching in that regard. I'm retired, but I'm not really retired. But I do miss my university students, and just the amount of thinking that they did about it. And they're so well informed. This generation Z is very well informed about the health of our planet. So I digress. This is a wonderfully crafted book. I just love the color. It reminds me a lot of Dungy's Soil. That is a wonderful book too. I should probably do a review of that here in the near future. But this is by her brother. And so the other thing about this book that I just love so much is that each each one has like artwork, and it's I mean, if you're a big fan of artwork, this is this is a book that you will absolutely love. That I just love this so much. Just absolutely stunning artwork in here. And so that is one other thing that I really love about this book. This one's called The Bobcat Next Door, but this is just stunning artwork. So if you like, to talk about, nature, and you are concerned about, this one is just beautiful. Lots of birds. I don't know if she's an official birder. This one's called My Life in Rabbits, Summer Week 10. Rabbits Are Everywhere Among Us by Sue Orlean in the book On Animals. That was one of her epigrams. But I'm going to read from this chapter called The Crow Family, Winter Week 10. Glossy and rowdy and indistinguishable, the deep muscle of the world. This is from a poem, the epigram is from the poem called Crows by Mary Oliver, who's one of my favorites. Even in late February, many of the most interesting creatures are still asleep. The cheery chipmunks are bundled into their tunnels beneath my house. The queen bumblebees are curled into their chambers in the soil. Somewhere nearby, the resident rat snake is also underground, and at the park, the snapping turtles and the bullfrogs are tucked into the mud at the bottom of the lake. The overwintering butterfly chrysalids are sleeping in the garden, and the monarch butterflies are sleeping in their Mexican wintering grounds. Everything is waiting for the world to wake. My flower beds are nothing but a jumble of dried stems and matted clumps, a collection of dead vegetation. Even remembering the purpose behind this untidiness, I take no comfort from my garden in February. I miss the singing most of all. During winter, we do have songbirds in Middle Tennessee, some of them year-long residents and some of them visitors passing time in this warmer climate until they can return to their nesting grounds up north. The fussy chickadees will call out to defend their claim on the bird feeders, and the Carolina wrens, who sometimes nest in the hanging pots under our eaves, will still stand on a fence post and chirp their irritation into the gray sky. But none of this is singing. It's not the same as waking into a morning full of birdsong. And yet, I just think that's lovely. Also, my first bird that I saw this spring was a chickadee under my big blue spruce in my backyard, and I just love the little fat, little round little chickadees. And then the next day I saw a robin. And I did, when I was in Missouri, I got to hear for the first time a Carolina wren, and I'd never heard one. And I sent it to my birding friend, Dr. Gannon, and he said right away, "Oh, that's the Carolina wren. It's one of my favorite birds." I thought, I understand why. And then I went to a poetry reading in close to Springfield, Missouri, where I taught at Missouri State University. And so it was with one of my last days with some of my students who I was invited to read poetry. And it was out in a more of a rural setting and like a farmstead that they did poetry readings and had good food. And just as I got up to read my poetry, there was a Carolina wren, and I love telling the story because it's like that Carolina wren must have known I was leaving Missouri, and I needed to hear one just before I go. So I'm very partial to the Carolina wren. So this is a book I treasure it because of a friend that gave it to me, and I would definitely, this is a book you could teach in a class like what I had, ecological literacy. You could also teach it if you're teaching a creative writing class. It's a very good example of how to teach nonfiction, and having that the theme of the crows and birds in particular. I think that's one of the things about memoirs that you have to learn about, that you do definitely need to have some kind of thread throughout the nonfiction piece. And she just does it so well. Just really short, really easy, really easy to read chapters that really, bring home. You just have a moment. I would stop and read it, and then I would take it and open it up and read it to my husband, who loves birds and everything outdoors. And so it's a really shareable kind of book that you can, read to anybody. You pick up the phone and call your best friend and say, "Hey, I want to read this to you." That's totally me. So I think, as far as like high school and middle school, you could probably use excerpts of it. I think that, throughout my teaching career, I definitely would have done that, especially when I'm teaching, a particular kind of writing style. Even in high school, I was teaching a composition. I would use different models and, different genres for students to see Like you can compose in very different ways to make a statement. So I definitely think if I was teaching high school, I would definitely have used something, a chapter or two out of this book uh, to provoke thought, to have kids start thinking about, like, if you're going to take a stance on something, you could use this book really easily to as a model, a mentor text, as they like to say. So and even if you're not teaching, for anybody out there who's watching this, just recall that I like to just do books for the fun of reading the books, because I love books. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Bye.